I'm Kael. I'm a freelance cover artist working for comic publishers in the US.
Hi, I'm Kael. I'm a freelance cover artist working for comic publishers in the US, like Marvel Comics or DC Comics. I am born and based in Miri, Sarawak, and I'm a graduate from the One Academy. I am especially proud of being the main cover artist for Marvel's Iron Man series in 2022 because I'm a huge fan of the MCU Iron Man, and I'm very happy to be a part of this project. As a cover artist, being able to sell is very important. One of the main tasks of cover artists is to attract customers with interesting covers because your comic book is going to get displayed in a comic book shop with another 100 comic covers or so. And you have to make sure customers choose yours over the others. And I have this in mind every time I draw. Over time, I managed to build enough interest and demand in my works, which I felt very lucky because there are many masters out there. And of course, being able to deliver your works on time is super important. There will be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue 97 for IDW, Justice League Dark, issue 27 for DC Comics, and Sinister War 1, issue 1 for Marvel. I chose these three because I actually have many deep connections with a lot of my covers, but I felt that these three, in art-wise, I felt that they exceeded my abilities at that point in time, and I felt like I did something special. When I first started drawing, traditional is my tools of the trade, and even though digital art came in the middle, I still felt that drawing traditionally feels very different and has a lot more satisfaction compared to digitally drawn pieces. Okay, we are always shy when we get compliments, but deep down, I really like hearing about them because it makes me happy and keeps me motivated to continue to draw more for everyone to enjoy. One comment that I get the most from time to time is that people say my works look like J.C. Leyendeckers or Mark Silvestri. Because I love to look at their works, I love parallel hatchings, I love sharp edges, and I incorporated those into my own works. And they said my works has a touch of classical superhero with a modern twist. And I think that's because I look at classical master stuff as well as modern stuff. Another comment that I find interesting is that some fans said there is a touch of manga feel in my works. And I don't really deny that because I grew up reading manga, and Takeshi Obata's Death Note remains my all-time favorite manga. I create all my superhero covers at my home studio in Miri, where the internet is my everything, and it lets me stay connected to clients by email, and I can showcase my work through social media to the whole world. So occasionally I do travel to comic cons around the world to meet with fans and editors because meeting people in real life is very different compared to talking to them through the screens. My art process is fairly straightforward. I usually spend 3 days for one cover. I spend 1 day on the layout, which about 3 sketches for editor's approval, and once approved, I will ink it traditionally, and that will spend 1 day, and then another day will be spent on digital coloring in Photoshop. So in short, it's a 3 days process unless the cover is more detailed. Then it will take another day or two. Yeah. 2D drawings is mostly about capturing specific moments, and stuff like this is very important in comic covers or even drawing comics. Like every time I draft a sketch, I will think about are they jumping from one point to another? Are the characters fighting? And why are they in such poses? So stuff like this is you can't show in the final result, but having this in mind gives depth and reasonings behind every decision that I make. In the One Academy, I major in 3D modeling, and I learned how stuff works in 3D as well, such as one of the drawing techniques called draw through, which you draw the stuff that is going to get covered up. Like we will sometimes draw the characters from their skin first before covering them up with costumes. So stuff like this will make your drawings better by giving it depth compared to just thinking in 2D. I've always wanted to become a comic artist ever since I'm very young because I grew up reading local comics from Gempak Stars. But as I went to college, I learned that comic artist is a very tough profession, and then I transitioned to games, which pays better. I started out as a game concept artist in Passion Republic, and I worked there for like 4 years. I can say my time in Passion is one of the most important part of my career, because that time I'm struggling to find my own voice, and I'm learning from a team of very, very passionate teammates. It is also in Passion that I started to learn to draw traditionally again after office hours. After Passion, I took up a lot of different freelance gigs to survive. I work on card game illustrations, concept art for both comics and games, and novel covers. And it is through these jobs that I learned to do a more detailed rendering styles, which will later help me a lot in my comic covers. Looking back, I don't think my skills isn't too great to begin with. But I spend extra hours. I spend more effort on each pieces that I do to exceed clients' expectations. I participated in a Singapore art exhibition which features Star Wars characters, and most of the pieces there are done traditionally, and mine included as well. And through that show, it introduced me to more private collectors, and they requested me to draw superheroes, and it all started from there. After 2 years of working on private commissions, I then get more requests from major comic publishers to draw official comic covers. I think my first comic cover is DC's Justice League 1 in 2018. When I was in secondary school, I still have no idea if I can do art as my career yet. But that time I joined an art community called DeviantArt, and I start to make friends with some artists, also from Malaysia, and they happen to be students from the One Academy. And I realized they are all very good. So that's when I decided I wanted to go to art school after my sekolah menengah. That will be 3 nights of not sleeping and staying overnight in college with friends. I remember we will go to Mamak 3 to 4 a.m. in the morning and eating Indomie with our eyes half closed. Despite the hardship, we end up with artwork that we are satisfied with. The artwork will not turn out good if one does not work on it. As I grow older, it takes more and more effort and energy to find new inspirations. Compared to working in a studio with a group of artists, being self-independent means you have to self-discipline and continue to find inspirations and push yourself to continue to create. Working alone at home gives your mind a lot more opportunities to think, and sometimes that will go into the self-doubt zone. You start to question yourself if you are good enough, if you are still relevant, if your work is out of touch. And I try to counter that by surrounding myself with stuff that I love. I buy books, I buy toys, I read comics that I love. Sometimes the best way to counter art blocks is actually to step away from it. And sometimes it took me days away from my drawing table to get back into the momentum again. I wanted to write and draw my own comic book, completely original. So in comic terms, we call it creator-owned. And non-comic terms, we call it intellectual property or IP. And this requires a lot of hard work and dedication, and I'm still working hard for it. It will be superhuman healing ability, so I will not get sick again, and maybe the ability to freeze time, so I will never get old and I can do anything I want. I've been thinking a lot about life lately, and I realized in the end, the thing that I'm looking for is just to be happy. For everything that I work on, I make sure it is something that I love and have interest in, rather than just doing it for the sake of making money. You have to enjoy the process, you have to enjoy the result even when it sucks. You will have questions as you journey down the creative path, but just remember, you are not alone. We have all been through the same thing. Sometimes you just take a step back and then you soldier on.